Cheap pellet grills that promise restaurant-quality smoke often end up being a disappointment once you fire them up for the first weekend barbecue. You get uneven heat, you have to keep refilling a tiny hopper, and after a few weeks the ash buildup feels like a chore you never signed up for. The question is whether the PitBoss 1600 Navigator series actually sidesteps those regrets and feels like a smarter buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a couple of weeks comparing it to a few sub-$500 models and a couple of the higher-end competitors, and here's what the real-world experience looks like. First off, the biggest deal for most backyard chefs is consistency. The 1600's 30-pound hopper and the even heat claims sound nice on paper, but the proof is in the grill. When I set it to 225F for a low and slow brisket, the temperature held within a 3-degree band after the first 15 minutes. That steadiness let me plan a 3-hour cook without worrying about the meat pulling away from the target. If you've ever watched a cheap grill's thermostat swing wildly, you'll recognize the relief of not having to hover over the control knob all day. The Wi-Fi and Bluetooth integration is where the smart part comes into play. Using the PitBoss app on my phone, I could see the exact temperature, adjust the set point, and even get a push notification when the internal meat probe hit my finishing temperature. For a family that likes to keep the kids playing in the yard while dinner cooks, that remote monitoring is a genuine convenience. It's not just a gimmick, it saved me from the usual "did I forget to turn the heat up" moment that can ruin a pork shoulder. Now, who should actually consider this grill? If you're someone who enjoys smoking a variety of proteins, beef, pork, chicken, even vegetables, and you want the flexibility to switch between low and slow smoke and a quick sear, the 1600's 1593 skin cooking area gives you room to spread out a whole rib rack and a tray of veggie kebabs without crowding. The flame broiler function adds that direct flame char you get from a traditional gas grill, so you can finish a steak with a quick burst of high heat without moving it to a separate piece of equipment. If you're a weekend warrior who likes to experiment with different woods for flavor, the real hardwood flavor claim is backed up by the pellet feeder design that feeds wood pellets consistently, resulting in a subtle, authentic smoke rather than a burnt aftertaste. On the flip side, the 1600 isn't the perfect fit for every grill enthusiast. If you're looking for a portable unit you can take on a camping trip, the 30-pound hopper and the overall footprint make it more of a patio-bound appliance. The touchscreen controller is intuitive, but it does add a layer of complexity if you prefer a simple dial. Some people who are used to the tactile feedback of a knob may find the digital interface a little finicky, especially when the screen gets a bit of ash residue after a long smoke session. That's a minor trade-off, but worth noting if you value rugged simplicity over tech bells and whistles. One practical strength that shows up after the first few uses is the cleaning system. The grill grate is coated with a porcelain enamel finish that resists sticking, and the ash drawer is sizable enough to go a full week without emptying when you're doing a typical weekend cook. Compared with cheaper models where the ash can jam the pellet feed, the 1600's design keeps the feeding mechanism free of blockage. That means fewer interruptions and less time spent scraping charcoal out of the hopper. There are a couple of weaknesses that become apparent once you move beyond the initial excitement. The first is the weight. At just over 300 pounds, moving the unit even a short distance requires a couple of strong hands or a dolly. If your patio layout changes often, you'll need to plan for that extra effort. The second is the pellet consumption. Because the grill can maintain higher temperatures up to 500 F, it burns pellets faster than a low-temperature smoker would. A 30-pound hopper lasts roughly 12 hours at 350 F, so if you're planning an all-day smoke you'll need a backup supply of pellets on hand. That isn't a deal-breaker, but it's something to factor into the ongoing cost of ownership. From a value perspective, the peace of mind included tagline isn't just marketing fluff. The grill comes with a 5-year warranty on the stainless steel construction and the electronic components, which is longer than most entry-level pellet grills. For the price point well into the mid-range but still below the premium pro models, the combination of a sizable cooking area, solid heat distribution, and connectivity features feels justified. If you compare the total cost of buying a separate smoker, a separate gas grill for searing, and a Bluetooth thermometer, the PitBoss 1600 bundles those capabilities into a single unit. So, should you buy it? If you're the type who wants to impress friends with a perfectly smoked brisket, likes the safety net,